I'm Nick Altmeyer with linkinglewiscounty.com, here today with Lewis County Manager Ryan Piche, and we're here today to preview the monthly Board of Legislators meeting, which is taking place tomorrow, Tuesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. right here at the courthouse.
Yep.
In Lavo, second floor. There's one public hearing on the agenda, so if you want to just mention what's the public hearing on?
The CDBG.
I believe it's for the trail.
I'm sorry.
Yep, the trail system.
Yep. Yes, one public hearing. We're adding some miles to the trail system. Actually, some parts of the trail that were previously part of the trail system up on the Lee Golf Road in the town of Turn.
Okay. And yeah, basically all these additions are in the town of Turn, like you said, about 3.5 miles getting added. So anybody that has anything to say or wants to speak out on that, the public hearing for that will be at the beginning of tomorrow night's of the Tuesday night board meeting.
Yep.
All right, great. So we're going to zip through this pretty quickly. There is a special committee meeting this afternoon, so we can't take up too much of your time this month. All right. So basically some of the resolutions that are on the agenda for this month, and these have all been discussed in the committee meetings for February, so people can go ahead on the Lewis County YouTube page and take a view of those for further information if they would like. But one of them is there's a couple of agreements here for kind of helping out the towns and villages with their websites and codification processes and things like that. So your first resolution is with Coughlin Printing to create municipal websites and secure email addresses for all the villages and towns in Lewis County at a cost of around $200,000. So this is coming out of funds for the county shared IT services initiative project. So do you want to just mention a little bit about bringing the towns and villages with updated websites?
Sure. So the state of New York has set up a fund for municipalities that agree to share services and consolidate, and so we've been able to tap into that several times over the years. This is another example of that. When the county redid our website last year, one of the things we made sure was part of that project was the ability to also host some of the town and village websites for those towns and villages that are interested. So for example, you'd basically be able to have the town or the village host their website right on our server, and I think that'll be interesting for some municipalities, but I really think that the secure email situation where we can set up real government secured emails for each of the towns and villages through the county server with our firewalls and our protections and our oversight. We've got a whole IT department here looking for intrusions and risks and those types of things. And so that's a service that we'd like to offer to the municipalities.
So instead of like village clerk at whatever.com,
Gmail, there's a lot of Gmail, Yahoo.
Basically, this would convert them to a .ny.gov.
Yep. So you could be, just for example, town supervisor at martinsburg.ny.gov, and you know that you're part of a secure network. Right.
Makes sense. Okay, so that's a resolution that is going to be up for vote on Tuesday night. Along a similar line, there's also a resolution with a firm that does municipal digital codification for codes and things like that for each of the towns and villages. That is also coming from a shared IT service agreement at a cost of $345,000. So similarly, it would be for villages and towns that are interested to put their codes online.
Yeah, what often happens in some of our small towns and villages is the history and the local laws and meeting minutes and resolutions might travel from box to box depending on who the clerk or supervisor is. And you've also got a lot of paper records, and sometimes they get lost or destroyed. This would be to set up basically digital records of all of the major local laws and resolutions, so that they're preserved for posterity, and so that you know what's on the books.
And easy access for anyone.
You shouldn't have to go to your village clerk to find out what your zoning is. It should be available online. So if we could, again through shared services initiative, kind of set up the infrastructure, and then the towns and villages that are interested in participating have that available.
And even though these both come with a, kind of a hefty price tag, like you mentioned before with the shared services agreements, a lot of this can be reimbursed from the state if once the services are implemented.
Correct. Yeah, the state encourages us to work together and find efficiencies.
Okay, we do have a resolution for authorizing a grant application for Connect All program, for municipal infrastructure, and basically this is for last mile support in connecting unserved households and businesses to high-speed internet access for an amount up to $30 million. So a lot of broadband projects have been going on in Lewis County over the last few years. A lot of the government funds, ARPA funds, things like that have been used for the broadband projects. Most of them have been the $1 to $3 million range, I would say. So what's the significance of this project?
So $30 million is the maximum
You can apply for.
We are, submitting applications as the county, but also we're part of regional applications with the Development Authority.
Yep.
So I think the 30 million was just to make sure we're, being transparent with the amount that part of some of these regional projects should be. But if we were by any chance awarded, more than $10 million or $30 million, there's still a lot of work to do in Lewis County. So we've done a lot of good work with wireless broadband,
right?
But fiber to the home is obviously preferred. So I'm not saying that we'll even be applying for $30 million worth of grant funding, but if we can tap into this fund and try to get more fiber to the home, I think that would be a good thing.
Very good. All right. The next resolution is a resolution awarding a contract for water system at Singing Waters Park. So at a cost of $55,390. And just so people that aren't familiar, can you just talk a little bit about Singing Waters Park? A lot of work's gone there the last couple of years. I think people are very, very familiar with like the state park system and things like that. And Singing Waters is kind of like the county version of a state park.
So Singing Waters Park, a lot of people are familiar with it. Some people aren't. It's on Fish Creek Road in the town of Gregg. It's an excellent spot with a beautiful waterfall. The county's owned it for many, many years, since the 1930s. But we haven't really maintained it as a campground. So we put a lot of work into getting it open this spring as a campground. So it'll be similar to what you have in the town of Martinsburg with the Whitaker Falls, a lot smaller. Mm-hmm. It will not be for RVs, it's for tents only. But we've put in some and cleaned up some of the campsites there. There's a new bathhouse, and this project will finish connecting the well to the bathhouse, and we should be able to open this fall. And there's a pavilion there if you want to have, it's great for a lot of people that know about the spot, have graduation parties, family reunions, those types of things. It really is a beautiful spot, especially in the summertime. There's big flat rocks where the kids can play. So we want to highlight that asset and get it open to the public so more people will use it.
And I think you mentioned that like reservations and things like that will be run online through the county website?
To rent the pavilion or to rent a campsite, we'll have that all set up online. So, and I think we did a new camping law, updated our camping law for the first time in several years, and I believe we settled on, like $5 to $15 a night, so it's very affordable.
Okay. Next resolution is on a demolition for and site cleanup of an condemned unsafe structure in the village of Port Leyden on West Main Street. So the board will be deciding whether to move forward on that.
Yeah, that's if you're driving through Port Leyden headed south, right on your right at the four corners is a building, and if you slow down and take a look there, the whole side of the building is basically bowing outwards. It's about ready to fall down on its own. So it is a safety hazard. We've bid it out. We have a contractor ready to rock and roll. The board will, authorize that agreement with the contractor, and we'll get that building taken down before it falls on its own.
Right. And ultimately, that's part of the program where, the property landowner is responsible for it. So any costs associated with the cleanup should be added onto their property tax bill type deal.
Correct. Yeah. So if if even if they're not necessarily on board with managing or maintaining their property, if the government has to step in and do something, the cost of that goes onto their property taxes, and either we'll get it back through property tax payments or we'll get it back in the form of foreclosure.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty quick look at most of the resolutions for the night. We'll close on, there's one resolution which you guys, the board will be reading in memoriam of a past chairman of the board.
Yeah.
Who passed away in February. His name was Sam Valenti. So the board will just recognize his contribution. I think he served as a member of the Board of Legislators from 1970 to 1994 and was chairman from 1975 to 78.
Yeah, beyond that, he was a Purple Heart winner, I believe, in Korea. He also was chair of the Republican Party for Lewis County for several years. A great public servant, and you know, it's right that today's legislators honor the contribution of the ones that came before. So
definitely. All right, Ryan. Well, we appreciate your time today, and we'll let you. Looks like we're getting out just in time for you to get onto the committee meeting, the special committee meeting this afternoon. So, committee is going to be the finance committee is going to be discussing a little bit more the Lewis County Health Insurance Fund, which is you know, you guys are looking at some changes possibly with that, and you know, some I don't want to say financial issues, but some difficulties that are you know, coming up within the program. So we're not expecting any action at this point on that tomorrow night. So this is a topic that we're going to maybe discuss a little further in our next month preview.
Like we talked about before, the committee meetings filter the resolutions through to the main board meeting.
Right.
So the meeting that we're having this afternoon is a special committee meeting of the Finance and Rules Committee to talk about health insurance. Then we'll have whatever legislation or board decision will go through the March committee meeting for April board adoption.
Okay.
So it fits our process.
Very good. All right. Well, once again, thanks for your time today. And just a reminder for everyone, Board of Legislators meeting Tuesday, March 5th at 5 p.m. right here in the Board of Legislator chambers on the second floor at the courthouse in Level.
That's right.
Thanks.